Oh my God, I love it, and it feels so good to be back. Robbery, oh Ego, it was a robbery. Listen, Ego thoughts. I told you on the channel I'm going back to the basics, so we got to talk about it. Dmitry Bivol loses to Artur Beterbiev. I love it. I did a full breakdown. Check that on the channel. It is Artur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. What really happened? Type that on YouTube. It should come up. Here's the thing. I wanted to talk about this because this is just something that's on my mind. I find it hilarious that you have people, I don't know who started it. Maybe it was Eddie Hearn because he works with Dmitry Bivol, but the spin doctors came in and, you know, a bunch of people, they did what they always do in boxing, where we watch a good fight, we watch a competitive fight, and because the fight doesn't play out how they said it would play out, how they wanted it to play out, they're screaming robbery. And I want you to know that I'm happy to report that has officially backfired, right? And it's good because I think that's better for boxing when we label things what they truly are. Like if someone does something and then someone just says, oh, you're racist, but then they're not actually racist, then that's like false flagging and like you're wasting people's time, and it brings shame to the people like myself that call out real racism, right? When you just overdo it and overuse it. And that's the same thing here. It becomes hard to distinguish what the truth is if words are often overused. Like, for example, if we watch a close fight, the best versus the best, undisputed, and really there should be no controversy. It was a close fight, right? But people who didn't have their way or whatnot, they tried to turn it into a controversy by getting people on board and screaming robbery. Not everything is a robbery just because it didn't go the way you wanted, right? And I think a lot of people truly don't know how to score boxing, and they don't understand that there are elements of boxing. There's a boxing criteria for scoring, but there are elements that are a bit subjective. And when you take two of the best fighters in the world in the same respective division and all belts are on the line, yeah, it's not supposed to be a blowout. It's going to be competitive. That's like prime Michael Jordan playing prime Kobe Bryant. Okay, that's going to be a competitive game, right? It's a one-on-one game. It's going to be competitive. Jordan don't like to lose. Kobe don't like to lose. If you can, you know, genetically make it or have a time machine where they were in the same era, that would be a very competitive game. That's what's supposed to happen when you have two hard workers, diligent workers. And instead of people just enjoying Beterbiev and Bivol and all of his splendor, you got people who are trying to push this narrative that it was this egregious robbery and saying that, oh, I'm never watching boxing again, Ego. This was the greatest robbery in boxing history. Too much. And it's so funny because it's starting to backfire. More and more people are watching the fight if they didn't see it or rewatching the fight. And I've been seeing in the comment section where people were like, hey, okay, pump your brakes. That wasn't a robbery. I could see Beterbiev winning. And it's funny because when I say these things, right, I said it was a draw or I could see Beterbiev close, right? At first, you had people who are saying, no, you're wrong. This is so wrong. They did Bivol wrong. That was the immediate reaction. And I told you, as a man, especially if you're listening to this as a man, and most of the people who watch my channel are actually men. So please listen to this. If you are a man and you cannot control your emotions, you are not much of a man, or at least to me. A man got to be congruent with what he says and in control of his emotions. And that's why I advise you guys, do not watch boxing if you're too emotional, because it's never going to play out how you want. If you're picking people based on who you like and favorites and national pride and, you know, this guy's from New York and I'm from New York, or whatever the situation is, you will be disappointed more often than not, because boxing is not about that. It's a sweet science. And that's what I'm seeing here. I think a lot of people were trying to push this whole robbery card. Eddie Hearn was pushing it, saying this is disgusting and despicable. Eddie says that every time somebody that he has loses, unless they got knocked out, like Anthony Joshua, he always makes it a big fuss if it's a close fight. Just because it's a close fight does not automatically mean that, hey, close fight, different ways to interpret swing rounds. So it's a robbery. And it's boxing. I'm going to keep working hard to clean this game up. Boxing is like Gotham City, and I'm Batman. I'm vengeance. So I got to just keep working hard to spread that real, because there's a lot of fakes in the game right now. It was a good fight. It was a close fight. Even people like Teddy Atlas, who picked Bivol going into the fight, he came out and did a recent interview. I'll do a video, so make sure you check back on the channel. I'll do a video about it. But he admits that Beterbiev won the fight. It's not hard to understand. Best versus the best, a high-speed chess match. You can't have no false moves. You got to move correctly. Bivol did great work, but there were moments where Bivol let his foot off the gas, particularly in the championship round. Now, I'm not going to spend my time, because my time is money. Shout out to everybody for the super chats and the cash apps. Link in the description. I'm not going to go over it again in detail, because I have a full length video breaking down what really happened in the fight. I'll put a card at the end of this video. But the point is, Bivol had an amazing opportunity. And when there's 4 belts on the line and you're getting walked down, you have to make the right choices. You know, don't get greedy like he did in round 7. Maybe I need to throw more punches, because the appearance is Beterbiev is walking me down and stalking me, and I'm just in retreat mode, right? And I maybe should punctuate these championship rounds. That's how it is. That's any sport. It's not really how you start, it's how you finish. And I truly think that Beterbiev started to wear down, and a lot of the little things that weren't as flashy that he was doing early in the fight, like little pokes to the body, stabs to the body, I think they paid dividends late, on top of, like, you know, headshots and the stalking. Just the fact that a guy with them heavy hands is pressuring you and staying on top of you and making you work, that in and of itself is going to be very exhaustive and tiring, because you have danger. Imagine you're in a warehouse and there's multiple doors and you got a bunch of henchmen chasing you, and there's danger everywhere. There's people outside of the warehouse that are looking, and they have assault rifles. You got people in the warehouse who are chasing you. You got people on the roof. You know, you go in door 1, there's someone real close there. It's like almost like Call of Duty when you're playing online. You don't know where the ops is at. And that's kind of how it is with a guy like Beterbiev. As long as he's conscious, then he's a danger to you. And I think that by itself is just a lot of pressure. So I'm very glad to report that more and more people are starting to see the truth, that this wasn't some big, massive robbery. This was a close fight. So what I can hope for is the rematch. I hope they do the rematch. I actually think it'll probably be worse for Bivol, and we'll ultimately get to see. But I'm glad that it's backfiring, this whole notion that it was a rematch, because again, everything that's close is not a robbery. Ego thoughts.